Is this more or less anticipated than Armageddon? Everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Sprue review video. Yes, we are back with, let's face it, let's just call it the Cogfort Sprue review video, because that's the thing you're all here for. Yes, Games Workshop have been very, very kind and have sent me all the new Cities stuff. And, well, I'll warn you now, I haven't actually done a huge amount of it. I've done, well, kind of. I've done some huge things, but I haven't done most of it. I've nearly done the big thing. Just trying to finish it now. So a massive thank you to them, of course, for sending me this stuff to make this review. And, well, it's been a hell of a week. It's been a very, very, very long week. And I've enjoyed it at times. But I'm also very, very tired, and I'm still nowhere near finishing. So we're gonna we're gonna rattle through this Sprue review. Well, at least this bit. I record this bit. This bit will go quickly, I think, if I stop rambling. So yes, it's Cogfort time, of course it is. Cogforts, Cogforts, Cogforts. I feel like this, as I said at the cold open of the video, I feel like this is possibly the most anticipated thing, or at least it has been for a while. It's been slowly building in the background. People have been wanting to see the Cogforts ever since they've been mentioned, I think, in a novel, or maybe the last battle tome. And, well, they're finally here. And let me tell you now, it is an absolute sort of ridiculous piece of Warhammer. It really is. It's just ridiculous. There's not really any other way to describe it other than that it is utterly insane. And whilst, of course, we have the Gate Gargants and we have the 3 wizards and we have the terrain piece as well, I know that it is really the Cogfort that everybody's excited for. So we're going to jump in and we're going to have a look at all of this stuff. And even though I know that the Cogfort's the thing everyone's excited for, it's towards the end of the Sprue review, so if you want to see just that bit, just skip to the end whenever it is. I haven't even edited this video yet, so I don't know the time code, so I can't tell you that yet, but it's there. But we've got a lot of stuff coming, so without further ado, we're going to jump in. But before we do that, we have a little bit more of some further ado. Please do hit that subscribe button, hit like on the video, and comment below. Are you excited for Cogforts? Are you going to be doing Cogforts? Who are you doing your Cogforts for? Because anyone can have one. Everyone can have one. Anyone and everyone. So, with all of that being said, let's jump in and check out the new Cities of Sigmar range, otherwise known as the Cogforts. Okay, here we go. Let's kick things off slow and steady. Small and steady, shall we say. So we're going to start with the Axian Pyrocaster. Here it is. New fire wizard for the Cities of Sigmar. So let's open it up. There's always a hidden bit of tape. I always forget to check which side it's on. It seems to change. There we go. Right, so just a single sprue, tiny little packet, and tiny little instruction manual. There it is. So, what do we get? Well, 9 components. Really? 9 on that tiny sprue. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So there you go. The fire is not sculpted in. You can have that separately to the base if you so choose. So that's a good thing. And here is the sprue. Elegant little thing. I like it. Alright. So, what are we looking at here? What are we dealing with? Well, pretty much the sort of typical standard fare that you would kind of expect. For something like this, we're going to have connection points on things like the robes, the probably on the fire, yes, here and here. And we're going to have connection points on the soft parts of the inner clothing like this. And so it's just going to be one of those things where you're going to want to move with the curvature of these pieces, but only 9 components does seem to be in pretty good nick. We do have connection points on the outside here along the sort of the hem, and connection point there on the outside as well along the hem as well. This is the only one that appears to be on the outward facing part of the cloak, which is just on that sort of turn back of it, so that's not the best, but I've seen much worse in my time. We have connection point right on the end of the little, let's just call it a wand, for why not. So that's kind of a very obvious place that we want to make sure that we're very careful with. Same over here, just on here on the top of the arm, and then we've got another bit here on the connection point of the robe. Does it look like that is going to slot into that maybe, or does it slot in? Ah, no, it slots in along here, and you can see we've got an indent there on the robe as well, to sort of kind of deal with the possibility of it being sort of a bit gappy, which is, well, it's really, really good. I like that. I like that a lot. I could be completely wrong though. It could be that it's slotting into one of these two. By the way, we've got a little slot there, which is good. Connection points along the robe here and down here. 2 on the head, 1 and 2, but they're both on the sides, and they are on 2 kind of flat, smooth bits, so that's okay. We can handle that. So, yeah, interesting stuff. One thing to just point out for the kit bash lovers amongst there, we do have his foot sculpted onto the tactical rock just there, so that's something to bear in mind if you don't want to have a tactical rock on your Axian Pyrocaster. Okay, there it is, really quick, 3 minutes. Let's jump in and see how long it takes to build the Axian Pyrocaster. There's no options, so it's just go in order of operations, I guess. One Axian Pyrocaster down, many more to go. So, well, not of them. We're going to go to our next kit, which is going to be the Amethyst Knellmage. Yep, we're keeping it small. And I know I said before that I feel like the sticky tape changes sides. I knew I wasn't making it up. Look, it's on this side this time. It was over there last time. I'm not going insane. Right. On this one, we do actually have a optional. Here we can have with the helmet open, and you can see the concussion that this individual has, or we can have it helmet closed, so you can't see the concussion that this individual has. So choice is yours. Let's have a look though, shall we? Another tiny sprue, another tiny instruction manual, another 32mm base maybe. Let's have a look. Right, here we are, 32mm base. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 components. 7 if you want to have the bell closed. I suspect we're probably going to have the bell closed, to be honest. I think it just it looks better. Okay, well, okay, 7 components. That should be really quick. Here it is. We don't have a huge amount to really talk about in this one either. So most of the body here, most of the cloak here, most of the front of the body just there. So this is one of those ones where, because there's so few components, it is entirely possible that we will have to suffer their potential of being like a sort of seam line that goes along here, or indeed along here as well. So that's one thing to watch out for. Another thing over here is that we have a connection point there in the smoke, so it should be a nice smooth thing, so we don't want to gouge that too much. Just be careful with your knife or mold line remover. As for the head, being pretty much in one component here, but we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 connection points there. So none of them are on the face, thankfully, or anything like that. Not that it would be pretty difficult to get a connection point into the face here, but we do have just these kind of slightly congested areas up here next to the heads of those 2 sort of hammering skeletons there, so just be careful around there that you don't accidentally take the head off when you're clipping them off. But these 2 under this side of the helmet should be absolutely fine. For the helmet covering, this one here, we do actually just have 1 single connection point on the bottom, which is really nice. For the cloak, we have 1 on the turn back of the cloak there, so it is an outward facing area. We don't have any on the hem here, unfortunately. This one here is in a joint where it's going to be covered up, so that's great. And this one here is also, I think, in a joint by the looks of things, or maybe not. I think it will be covered by the helmet actually, so this one shouldn't be too bad. And the scythe does not have a connection point on the cutting edge of the blade either, so that's really good. Love it. Alright, only 7 components. Another 3 minutes of review, so maybe this one will be even quicker than the Pyrocaster. I mean, it should be at only 7 components. Alright, wizard number 2 in the bag. Somehow took 2 seconds longer. Don't ask me how, it just did. Anyway, next up, it's another wizard. It's our 3rd and final wizard. It is, wait, that way around, Erasmus Zonn. Erasmus Zonn. There's no R. The Enlightened one. Surely this won't be a massive leap up in components. Surely? Maybe? Here it is. Doesn't look to me like there's anything in the way of optional extras here, but it's a beautiful colour scheme. I'm really excited to get my creative juices flowing over those. Wings. So let's get this open and have a look, shall we? Let's see. 1 or 2 sprues. I reckon just the 1 sprue. But it is a bigger box. Much bigger box. So, oh, yep, 1 sprue, 1 instruction manual, 1 oval base of an approximate size that I don't know. Alright, here we go. What size is it? It is a 75mm oval base, and it looks like we are topping out at 35 components, so just a little bit of a leap in the amount of components here. Alright, here we go. So, anything optional? No, it doesn't look like it. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not in order. Well, anyway, the mount is up first. We build all of the mount up until not the wings. Then we build Erasmus, who goes on top of the mount by the looks of things. Then we put the tail on. Then we put the wings on. Then we put the last bits of armor on. Makes sense. No optional extras here. Just it is as it is. So that's something, I guess. Alright, cool. Bring it on, Erasmus. Let's have a look at your sprue, shall we? Alright, here we go. So, here is the sprue. Alright. It's difficult to know what we're looking at really here. Firstly, we'll just sort of talk about the wings. So, they are in 1 single piece, which is really nice. 1 and 2 over here and here. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 connection points across both, so at least it's consistent, so you'll know what to look out for once you've done one. You definitely know it'll be the same on the other one, which is good. Then the thing we look for, obviously, with the cavalry stuff, oh, wow, that's quite the warping of the sprue. Look at that. It's quite the curve. Nice. Right, so the thing we look at obviously with a mounted miniature is how many connection points do we have on the soft flesh of the mount itself. And here we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then over here we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now this one is really congested inside there, near the saddle on top of the rump. So that's something just to be really careful of, that you don't like kind of barge your way in there with your clippers. This one's a little bit easier over here. The 2 that are 1 and 2 here on the neck, it might be that similarly to what we've sort of talked about in the past, is that when you take 2 components like this, just push them together and then clean them at the same time. That can generally help with trying to get that bit nice and smooth, because otherwise you might have that sort of disconnected gap like that between the 2 bits if you accidentally take too much off of one half versus the other. We have the snakish tail, just 1 connection point, but it is right at the end here, by the looks of things. In the snake, no, the snake mouth goes on top of that, so that should cover that just fine. It's nice and smooth there, it's all right. And then here on the peg where it goes in the back of the mount as well, so that's pretty good looking tail. That's nice. Mold lines look to be pretty thick over here. Oh wow, look at that. Oh, that is quite the chunky mold line. So there is going to be quite the cleanup job on this model. Don't know why I'm doing it now already. Yeah, that's consistent across both halves as well. Okay, so Lame. The tactical rock is fine. 1, 2, and 1 and 2 over here. And then, much like we've talked about with our other 2 wizards, connection points in robes and things. Just want to move with the curvature of those pieces. Be careful. Don't take too much off them. And watch out for anything where you're kind of going to potentially have a seam. Like, for example, just along there. Like that bit. So, yeah. I mean, overall, it's actually... I mean, I don't think the quality of this one is particularly high in terms of the amount of cleanup. I mean, I'm seeing loads of mold lines now going along here, and for example, which isn't great. It's not particularly encouraging in terms of the amount of time this one's going to take. But there we go. Yeah, it was a generational run while it lasted. All right, okay. So lots of fiddly bits, lots of congestion on these components as well. So like for here, like the separate feet, which we not often a fan of on these mounted miniatures, and they're not even sculpted into the base, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, okay, it's not great. So yeah, I mean, I think we're going to be venturing out of the 14-minute zone here. I wouldn't be surprised if this one takes close to an hour, given the amount of cleanup that's present, but I shall try and be optimistic. Let's have a look and see how long it takes. So Erasmus Zonn is all built. As I suspected, took closer to an hour to do. So there's that. Anyway, we're going to move on, and we're going to move on to one of our big things. We're going to do the boring's not fair, but we're going to do the boring one first. We're going to do the Dorner's Triumph. So this is the terrain piece that you get now for Cities of Sigmar. It's really cool. It's a really nice terrain piece. So here it is. It is what it is. Tough to see any extras or anything that might be in here, but I feel like a lot of this stuff might actually be sort of optional things to put on your Dorner's Triumph. So let's have a little look inside the box, because I can't for the life of me imagine that all the scrolls and stuff are sculpted in. Alright, here we go. So, get a tray. Quite a light instruction manual. One whole sprue with, oh yeah, look at that. Tons and tons and tons of spare bits. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, you could put them all on this thing, but let's face it, you want to be able to paint it pretty quickly. Alright, we have a, guessing 100mm round base. We'll have a look. Alright, so Dorner's Triumph, what do we got? We have indeed got a 100mm round base, yes. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Well, just 20 components so far. And then, yeah, look at that. All that stuff is entirely optional, so you can put it wherever you want. Or put none of it on if you want. We'll put some of it on. But, yeah. Okay, cool. I like that. That's neat. That's neat and tidy. Alright. So here it is. Terrain, it's the terrain plastic. It's darker than your usual standard plastic, which means it's a little bit more resilient than your other plastics, a little bit more heavy duty. But it is a terrain piece, so everything should be flat. Everything should be on the 2D plane. There shouldn't be anything that is kind of too difficult to deal with. Now, the other trade-off with this is that there's going to be thick mold lines all the way around. Yep, you can already see them. Just around here. You can see it. There you go, big thick mold line. So the cleanup on this, again, it's going to be quite intense, I think. But the build doesn't look to be too difficult. There's 20 mandatory components and tons of optional components, which is really, really cool. God, there is a lot of stuff here. This is just great if you're a Cities of Sigmar fan, you want to dress some other terrain with it as well. There's loads of candles, there's little pots with lots of Dawnbringer tokens in. We have got some stuff sculpted onto the Dawner's Triumph as well, and some stuff that's not, so it's not completely bare if you leave some stuff off. But yeah, basically just move everything in this plane as you're cleaning it up. Make sure you do it like this, and you'll get all of the mold lines and all of the plastic that you leave behind. It looks pretty cool. Looks like it's not actually going to be too massive either, so that's well, for me that's a good thing. For you, you might want it to be bigger. Who could say? Only you. And another one goes in the done pile. So we can pop this one to one side. Pop them over there. Why not? So we're on to the really big stuff now. Gate Gargants. Yes, we're saving the Cogfort till last. So Gate Gargants, here we go. 2 of them in the box. That was one of the things I was interested in, is whether or not it was being done in a pair or by themselves. But they are indeed in a pair, which is awesome. And well, there should be some delicious extras going on in here, I'm sure of it. So let's have a little look. It's going to be one of those situations where I suspect we're going to need to do sub-assemblies, but I'm not 100%. So we've got a sort of medium weight instruction manual. We've got 1, 2, 3, well, technically just 2 sprues, but 3 sort of A5 sized sprues. We should have 2 bases and a classic Cities of Sigmar transfer sheet. Cool. Lovely stuff. Alright, pop that to one side. Not sure on the size of these bases, we'll find out together. They're a little bit smaller than 100mm, but yeah, what size do we think they are? 80? They look to be about 80. Let's investigate, shall we? Okay, so they are 80mm round bases. Alright, so what do we got? We have no optional extras on page 1, and we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 components on page 1 for our first Gargant. Okay, so we're building a full Gargant first, so that was, how many components was that? I've already lost count. 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, 19, 20. So just 20 components to build a Gargant. Nice. And then we build your man on top. So 20 components. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35 apparently, 36. Yes, 24, 25. Okay, so 36 components to build one Gate Gargant in the first instance. So what I was talking about earlier about the sub-assemblies, I think the thing to sub-assemble is going to be the guy on top. I think just keeping him off, because we've done the Fusel Major before, and whilst you can get in and around, this gun is significantly larger than the Fusel Majors, like sniper rifles, so it probably makes sense to just pop him on a spare base and do him separately. Okay, so what was that? That was 36 components in total to build the first of the Gate Gargants. So on to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 over here, so less on this one. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 32 for that one. 33, 34. With a total of 61 components in the entire box and absolutely 0 optional extras. So that's really interesting. Okay. Alright. Fine. Let's check out sprue number 1. Let's go with this one. The one that's on its own. So, what do we have? Well, the shield is enormous and lovely, but it's not actually all that big, to be fair. I thought they were going to be a little bit bigger, but I mean, look, this is a very, very, very big shield, so that kind of gives you that sort of scale, if you like. Here's the Pyrocaster next to one of those shields. So it is big, but at least they're not mega Gargant sized. I'm not sure if they're the other Gargant, Man-Crusher Gargant sized. They might be a little bit smaller than that, again, because of how much detail there is. And of course, the crow's nest on top is going to add a lot of height here. But we're essentially going to be treating a lot of this as being basically like a large sort of infantry sprue. So the things that you usually look out for on infantry are all going to be present here. So for example, we have a connection point there on that on the soft flesh. Same here, same there. This is on cloth, this is on cloth. That's all right because it's nice and smooth areas. Here we're on the sort of the joint of the belly, but it's still on the flesh. Here we're on cloth, the shield is fine because it's around the outside of a hard detail, so it should be okay. We've got here a bit of armor, here a bit of armor. Same there. The foot is connected just once, that's nice. It's looking good. The harness connected around the outside, so all good. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's a pretty simple sprue, if I'm being honest. It's nice and spaced out as well, so it doesn't feel like there's too much detail. Of course, we know that there's 60 plus components, but it does feel, well, 70 components. There's a 70 just there. That's the highest number I think I've seen so far. But okay, I think it kind of makes sense. Yeah, so just basically large infantry, which actually probably makes it quite easy in many ways to clean up. The mold lines are... yeah, they're pretty present here. So there's going to be a fair bit of cleanup on this one as well, unfortunately. Yeah, you can see it on this. Just about. Maybe not. You can see them. They are there. So they're visible to me, but so maybe not quite on the camera, but I'm seeing them from back here. So I've got maybe on that one. You can see it on the cushion. Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Right, so not great, but not awful. Same things are going on here, though. We have lots of large pieces for the large infantry stuff in terms of the Gargants, and over here seems to be the majority of where we've got our kind of, well, the people who are going to be in the crow's nest, right? So yeah, it's a the cleanup is the problem here, but it is basically infantry on a big scale. The same things are always going to be present, so you want to be kind of just moving with the curvature of the pieces when it comes to stuff like the soft flesh here and there. You want to kind of, when it comes to the sort of vehicular parts, so like this and stuff, you want to move it in that 2D plane, just making sure you get these pieces. Should be a little bit easier to clean up than the Dorner's Triumph because it's the softer model plastic, but there is quite a significant bit of mold lining going on here, at least on my one. But ultimately, like, it seems like a fairly simple build. We'll have to see how congested these are in terms of whether we're going to leave the gunner on the top onto a different base. We won't know that until we've built them. But it looked to me like it might be just simpler to just pop them off and have them on their own separate sort of 25mm base so that we can paint them separately to make sure we can get into the crow's nest and we can do the sort of tummy of them a little bit easier. So we'll have to see. Okay, well, let's build a Gargant and see how long it takes to build. Here we go then, our gate Gargants are all built, and we have put the 2 crew members on spare bases to paint a little bit later, well, to paint separately, just because it just made sense. And in actual fact, the guns they turn and they can come off as well. We'll prime them on the actual gate Gargants. We'll just line them up straight like that. But it means that whilst we haven't glued them in, when we then come to assemble these guys, they'll actually slot on, because there's a little bit of a missing piece there, and there's a little bit of a missing piece just there as well, which is where they clip in. So that way we don't accidentally get that wrong. But there we go. 2 gate Gargants. Fantastic. Absolutely wonderful miniatures. Lovely stuff. Right, let's pop them to one side, because it is now time for the biggest model in all of Age of Sigmar, I think. Maybe Mega Gargant might just clinch it, but here it is, the Cannonade Cogfort. Well, this actually builds both the Cannonade and the Conqueror Cogfort, and in fact it builds 2 more variants as well, I'm sure, because there's 2 more that they've told us about in the Regiment of Renown type thing, where you literally swap this gun onto the other thing, and there you go. That's what you get. So the Cannonade Cogfort and the Conqueror Cogfort are in here. It is an enormous box. It is very, very, very thick box. So there is a huge amount of stuff in here. So let's get this guy open. Let's have a look, shall we? I reckon there's at least 4 or 5 sprues in here. At the minimum. Dispose of the box. So we get, wow, a very weighty instruction manual with its own specific Cogfort transfer sheet, which is cool. Perfect. So we'll pop that down to one side. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sprues. My goodness me. There is the base. A big old unit. It looks like 100 mil. Well, 160, 180 maybe. And there is our all new transfer sheet as well. Specifically for the Cogfort. Right, that's cool. I like it. Okay, so what is the vibe in the instruction manual? Well, firstly, really cool little thing here just on the back is it's telling us where to put our transfers and in what order and how they're labeled. So 1 and 1, 2 and 2, and that is also a 1 by the looks of things, or maybe something slightly smaller. So 1s go there, 2s go there, 3s go on here, which is this sort of section down here, and the 4s go there, which is these sections there. So nice. I like that. I like that a lot. I like adding that as an addition. Okay, so how do we build a Cannonade Cogfort? That's the one we're going to build. We're going to build the Cannonade one because I like it. I like the big cannon. I like the flamer as well, but we've only got one. So it is a 160mm round base. See over here, it says over there. 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues. Oh no, hold on. 2 sets of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, okay, makes sense. Right, so first things first, we've got a pink track and we've got a green track. It says here that the only things that are different are the green gun, the ramp, because you can carry stuff in the Conqueror Cogfort, and the back of it as well for the Conqueror Cogfort is different. So here we go, but we're on to pink track straight away for the Cannonade Cogfort. So we build the Cannonade stuff if you want to build the Cannonade first. So we get all of that done, and we keep going, and we keep going, and we keep going, and then we get to this part, this section here, where we do have a gunner here. Now, I do believe there is a roof. The roof is optional, I think, if you wanted to have it open so you could see all the stuff on the inside. Now, the interesting thing is whether the roof is going to completely cover what's going on the inside, because if it is, then we won't need to build any of the stuff that's on the inside, because we can just cover it up, and therefore we won't need to paint it. Otherwise, it might be that we have to sub-assemble in that way, if you can still see through the the thing. Luckily, though, we build it in the case of this goes first, and then we build the roof, and then we can just dry fit it on to see if you can see inside. And if you can't, well, we're not going to build anything on the inside. So then, once you've got to that stage, you've done the body of the Conqueror, and you've done the turret of the Conqueror. Cannonade, sorry. The Conqueror Cogfort is over here, so it just starts again if you want to do the Cannonade Cogfort, which is cool. I like that. And yeah, it's all the way up to there. So then follow steps 5 to 15 for all variants. So once you've done this bit, you then skip ahead. So if you do the pink track, skip ahead to this part here. So follow steps 5 to 15 for all variants here. So this is where we start building out the sort of the frame underneath and the wheels and stuff like that. And then we do the legs, where, okay, rotating the position of the 4 legs will lean the Cogfort at different angles. Okay, cool. So we have different color coding over here on the legs, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It's 4 legs. And then we've got 4 layouts here. So in this case, it's 6, 7, 8, 9. Over here, we're 9, 6, 7, 8. Over here, we're 8, 9, 6, 7. Over here, we're 7, 8, 6, 9. So that's cool. That makes sense to me. I like that a lot. That means you can get some nice different variants, even if you build all 4 of the same, just by having them leaning slightly differently. So there we go. And there's the assembly pattern afterwards, making sure color-coded again. And then we have all the various little sort of extra turrets and things that go on here as well. So choose the variant you want to build. So this way around or this way around, so you can have this large one on the right hand side or this one on the left. Okay, makes sense to me. So nice. Okay, cool. I like it. We've got a lot of optional extras as well, I'm sure, as we're going through. But here we go. We've got the sort of optional door. You can flip it around depending on which one you want to have. And then we've got more optional doors on the other side, so more kind of positional stuff in terms of where you want to put things. More optional doors just by flipping it around, which is a really nice little touch. And then it's a case of building out the extra guns and things. Now it looks to me like it should just be generic based on reasons. No, okay, that's not a gun. That is in fact the sort of masthead, as it were. Okay, so there we go. We've got one of those guns that's from the top of the gate Gargant. That goes on there. That can go in any orientation, any way around. So again, we might build that in sub-assemblies. We then have a variant of an officer, someone carrying a cutlass, someone with a big old axe and a pistol. That's nice. I like that. And then we've got another crewman just here, and then another crewman just down here as well. We've got an optional crewman as well. That's cool. I like that. So how many is that in total? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 extra infantry models basically to go with this. And then looks like we have the final assembly. Can have a little guy poking out the window at the top. That's nice. And then we've got some optional extras, some optional heraldry and stuff like that. So exhaust pipes and some hanging. Well, that's not optional, but we have the hanging shields and stuff like that. Okay, cool. And we've got some hanging bags as well for more things, more lovely stuff. Okay, so I think makes sense. Conqueror. Cannonade and Conqueror Cogfort, and then it should say in the back here, yeah, Army of Renown. So we have the Immolator Cogfort and the Linebreaker Cogfort, where again, so you swap out these things, right? So the Flamer cannon goes on top of the Cannonade, and the cannon goes on top of the Linebreaker Cogfort, and that's how you get 4 different ones for your Army of Renown. All right, well, we've got a lot of sprues to look at. And we've got a Kassakin who keeps wanting to make an appearance in this video. Get out of here, Kassakin. Okay, so we're just going to go in order of the sprues as I've put them back in the box. So I'm not anticipating a huge amount of kind of stuff to really kind of dig into here. The main thing is going to be whether or not we have horrible mold lines all over this, and whether or not that's going to make things difficult to actually put this thing together in terms of slowing down the production. I still think this is going to take 2, possibly 3 hours to put together, but if it's clean in terms of mold lines and stuff, then that should kind of knock off about an hour. So maybe it's it could be 4, but it could be 3, it could be 2. So we'll have to look. So here's sprue number 1, where we've got basically the vast majority of the crew members are over here now. They are the infantry size models of the Cities of Sigmar. It's the same thing that we always have with Cities of Sigmar, and same thing we've kind of encountered so far in this video as well. You'll have connection points in areas where you like them, like underside of the boots, and you'll also have them in areas where you don't want them, like there on the belt. So this one's actually really good because it's up here at the neck, so that's going to be covered by the helmet when it goes on, or the head and helmet when it goes on, and these two are the underside of the boots. That's fantastic. Same here, these legs, connection point at the waist, on the underside of the legs. Here we're at the connection points in the are in the armpits, where it's going to be covered by arms, and on the other side of the boots. This one just about squeaks through on this side because that's on the armpit, but then this one is here on the actual details as well. So we just always want to be very careful around those sorts of areas. The officer, I think, is the officer. We have 1 and 2 components just there and there. Pretty sure these two go together, 165 and 164. Yeah, makes sense. It looks like we're going to have the possibility of a gap going right down the side of him. Are we going to really notice in the context of the Cogfort? I don't know, but it's something to bear in mind when you're building out your crew. I am probably going to definitely have them as sub-assemblies, just like we've done with the Gate Gargants, just because I think it'll just be a little bit easier to focus on one and then the other, but we shall see. Otherwise, we've got basically vehicle components here. So we've got bits of the stonework just connected around the outside for the ramp here, around the outside for this door, and so on and so forth. So really, it's just a case of 2D plane and looking at all of the sort of components pretty much from this side onwards. We do have one head just there, which is connected on the other side of the neck. That's fantastic. Love to see that. Same here, underside of the neck, underside of the neck, and underside of the neck, and underside and underside, and underside. Fantastic. Love it. Some of the best infantry in the Cities of Sigmar, that's for sure. So that's looking great. Okay, that's sprue number 1. Sprue number 2. Come on down. Okay, so here we have quite a large amount of details for the roof. Now, this is, again, pretty much straight vehicle components here. It is always the case that we move in that 2D plane just to make sure that we get all of the extra bits of flash off, and indeed any mold lines. So far, we seem to be in really good condition over those 2 sprues that we've looked at. So the cleanup should be minimal, which is absolutely fantastic. Exactly what I wanted to see. So maybe it's not going to be as traumatic as I'm perhaps fearing at the moment in terms of building this. But there we go. We have the main part of the cockpit, which if we just flip it over, you can see in there, and then the lid goes on top of it there, which is nice. Like it a lot. That's a good sprue. Doesn't feel too congested either. Everything seems to be quite large. We have a couple of small pieces, like for example here, this part of the masthead, and then we have over here this sort of handle of some description. I think one of the things that we're going to have to be really careful of is whether or not stuff like this here in the top of the cannon, I'm pretty sure that's meant to be there because a flag goes into it, but we want to be careful that we don't leave any of this sort of thing behind, because we can already see maybe there's a little bit just there on this component over there that is just kind of extra sprue. It doesn't need to be there. You're going to have to be on the hunt for that sort of thing as we go through. This is a good looking sprue though. I like it. There's a part of the flamer cannon. The flamer cannon is, it's all in one piece. That's lovely. Nice. That's very compelling. Alright, that's sprue number 2. Right, so we should have some, if my reading of the instructions was correct, we should have some duplicate sprues. Yes, that's a duplicate sprue. And this is a duplicate sprue. Oh, get in. Yes. Okay, so we only need to look at 2 more sets of sprues. So, here we go. There they are. We'll do this one because it's smaller. Again, same deal here. It's vehicle stuff. Just always in that plane. Keep having a look at it. Again, nicely spaced out. I really like this. It feels airy. Feels nice to get around this sprue, that's for sure. We've got part of the Cannonade cannon there, or at least one of the Cannonade cannons. I'm guessing the other one is on the other side. I'm not sure. Yeah, well, I mean, this is a duplicate sprue, right? So yeah, we've got duplicate sprues, which is actually just makes our life a little bit easier, especially if we're going to have to sort of navigate them both at the same time. At least you'll sort of know where like component 4 is once you've done it once. So that's a nice looking sprue as well. And then our final sprue to look at is this one as well. So it's all vehicle all the time. The vast majority of these things are vehicle sprues, which is exactly what you'd expect to see. There doesn't seem to be too much straying from that one sprue which had all the crew. Everything here seems to just be the vehicle stuff, which is very nice in terms of the flow of the build, basically. I like this a lot. I think, oh good lord, throwing the knife around. I like this a lot. I feel like this could be an absolute banger of a big kit. We shall have to see. I think the proof will be in how long it takes to build this and whether the instructions flow as well as they seem to. It's going to be an interesting one. So, well, I think on that note, it's probably time to jump in and start building our Cannonade Cogfort. I'm excited. Are you excited? Because I'm excited. Let's get going. Well, there you have it. The entire lot is all built. But is it all painted? No. But I'll show you what I have done. Yes, I've just managed to squeak this in. I was finishing this off during the day. I have finished it, and here it is, the Cogfort. The Cannonade Cogfort, to be precise, is all done. And, well, this painting video is coming very, 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 very soon. But my goodness me, what an absolute enormous piece of glorious Warhammer this truly is. It's utterly spectacular and insane. And the other thing that I've done, of course, is the gate gargants. Yes, here they are. So we've done all the big stuff and, well, got all of it out of the way, technically. Well, I say we've done all the big stuff. We still have the Dawn's Triumph yet to go. So, yeah. We gave it a good go, but it's a lot of painting has been going on this week, but it all looks great. Yeah, it's been a big old week full of lots of big things. And, well, I feel very accomplished having done what I've done, but I really want to get towards doing all of those wizards as well. So that's my job this weekend, and we'll do the terrain piece as well. And if we have time, we'll try and squeeze in the Spearhead City of Ash terrain as well. But I'm not making any promises. My time is very limited. So overall, what do we think? Well, it's a difficult one, this one. I think that the Cogfort as a kit, let's just talk about the Cogfort, because let's be honest, that's the main attraction here. Especially when so much of what we've got is actually just kind of built one way. You know, the Gate Gargants, they're built one way. The Wizards, they're built one way aside from an open helmet. You know, and the Dawn's Triumph, actually, let's talk about the Dawn's Triumph very quickly, because I think that, like, as a terrain piece, it's pretty simple, and it's a nice little terrain piece. It's got a nice bit of presence to it, and I like it for the Cities of Sigmar. What I found especially fun about it was the amount of just extra bits you're basically left over with. You know, it's really cool stuff to actually probably use some of it on your Cogforts if you wanted to, or on some other Cities of Sigmar terrain. I think we already talked about that, but if you wanted to sort of make a sort of slightly wider shrine area, or some more ruin stuff, or to bring in some more of that kind of old Gyran settlers terrain and all this kind of thing, you've got a lot of extra set dressing, basically, which I think that's really cool. I really do, because I mean, it would be absolutely dripping in accessories if you used everything in that box on one Dawn's Triumph. So, I mean, maybe there are those of you out there who will do that, but there's a lot of really cool stuff in that box. I think that's really, really nice. And I think it's a lovely addition because, you know, a lot of terrain is very, very efficient in terms of what you get. You don't get a lot of option, and you don't get a lot of customization generally with terrain these days. But this one, you get a lot. But as I said, like the Pyrocaster, the Knellmage, and Erasmus Zonn, or Zonn, I think I said that wrong every single time. Anyway, all three of the wizards are pretty much of a muchness. I mean, they're perfectly fine. I like it when it's a small little character, only 6 to 9 pieces. That's fine. Erasmus Zonn takes a significant chunk of time more to put together. He's an interesting one. And the only real struggle with that model is there is times where if stuff isn't lining up properly, it's because it hasn't clicked into place properly with that model, and you just have to kind of brute force it a little bit. Like the left wing, for example, it doesn't fully go in unless you brute force it just a little bit. And same for like the bits on the back, like the boxes and things. You've really got to put your back into it in order to make sure that all those things are together. But ultimately, it's not a particularly difficult build, but it is just orders of magnitude more complicated than the other two wizards, which is why I didn't enjoy it as much as the other two, because the other two were, well, pretty easy. The gate gargants are interesting as well. I mean, look, they built one way. They are mostly fine. And there's a bit of kind of gappage and stuff on like the arms and things that's very difficult to get rid of. I wasn't particularly successful at it because, as you guys know, I'm not very good at building and I don't enjoy it. But you're probably not going to build or paint more than one set of these. I don't know the points or anything like that, but I suspect they are much of a muchness. You're probably only going to do one, so that's fine, I guess. Maybe, who can say? Only you guys, I guess. Finally, we come to, of course, the main event, the Cogfort. And, well, it really does live up to its name. I mean, the thing, as I've been painting it, does kind of give you a workout. It's very weighty, and it takes a very, very long time to put it together. But one thing I will say that is incredibly, I think, very remarkable about it is just how customizable that kit is. And it does it in quite an elegant way. Now, you're using a lot of pieces to put the whole thing together. But the fact that the cockpits and the baskets and things like that, they can pretty much go anywhere that you want. And there's not like a lot of kind of predefined, like cutout, like sort of receiver holes and stuff like that where something has to go there. In fact, a lot of it's kind of just smooth, and you do kind of have to eyeball it a little bit. There's sort of elements of that, but that does speak to the customization of the kit. I do think it's future proofed in that way, especially for all the people who are going to do lots of conversion work on something like this. So there's that, but also like I really like how comprehensive the instructions were in terms of you build all 4 of the legs, you put them in whichever position you want them to be, and that will give you a different lean, and it tells you the order of operations in which to put them in to give it that different lean. I think that was really, really nice. And yeah, there's just a huge amount of stuff going on here. The fact that there's also just in the back, there is also just like a 1-page, 2-page, I can't remember how many pages it is, but there's a little sort of touch point on how it is that you are able to build all 4 variants, because 2 of them come in the Regiment of Renown. And that's basically a turret swap, ultimately, but at least it's there. You don't wait until you're into the turret, into the book, to actually find out that you can do that. So I think that's really, really promising. I think it's a very comprehensive set of instructions. The kit, at least the version that I built, the one that I built, didn't have a huge amount of cleanup either, so that was very impressive for a model of that size, because I think if it had a ton of mold lines all over the place, it would probably dip towards being one of the worst models I've ever built, because of how long it took to put this guy together. But yeah, I mean, it is a weighty model, but I mean, it's massive. Look at that, it's so big. So yeah, anyway, I'm really impressed with it. I think it is an amazing model, and I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with this one. And to go back a little bit to the fact that a lot of the sort of the cockpits and the stuff that is jutting out from it are almost entirely optional, it does speak to a hugely customizable model, which I think is something you want for something of this size, and also for something that everybody can use across the entire Age of Sigmar range. Anyone can have one, right? So you want that ability to be able to sort of customize it in any way that you want, and they've made it really easy to do that, and I think that's a very promising thing for something such as this. So for that reason alone, it's a pretty spectacular model. That being said, it does take an absolute age to put together. So it's not really something to mark something down for in that regard, because it taking a really long time to put it together is just, well, it's like arguing against physics. The amount of components that you're using to do this are very numerous, and so it's just going to take a lot of time, So it is what it is. But I do think it's a beautiful model. I think it's a beautiful kit, and I think it's fantastic. So where do we land on the Land Raider scale then? Well, that is the big question. It's a difficult one, this, because I do think, like, it's just a really nice range of models, and I think there's not a huge amount to write home about across most of it, but that Cogfort really is seriously a spectacular model to build and paint. So I think the Cogfort naturally kind of reaches around about an 8.5 out of 10, because there is a lot of significant time sink into it. There is also, if you don't build it onto the base, there is sections depending on which variant you build. In terms of the Cannonade, which is what I've built, there is a little hole on the underside which you'll never see, because you can't get the angle to see it from here, right? You just can't do it. But if you don't put it on the base, there is a little gap behind this cannon, so there's a missing piece. So fine, is what it is. But that's because the other variant, which is the Conqueror Cogfort, that's where the drawbridge goes, right? So it makes sense as to why it's not there. It's not like the Rogel Dawn that there's a missing gap, you know, in the base of the tank. So is that a reason to mark it down? I don't really think it is, but it is one thing just to point out, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, ultimately I think, yeah, it's an 8.5 out of 10, because it does just take a very, 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 very long time to build, because there is a huge amount of components going on here. So maybe there's ways to sort of just pare it back a little bit, but I don't know. I feel right with 8.5 out of 10 for the Cogfort. But for the rest of it, it's pretty much just monopose, do the thing and follow the instructions. And for me, that's good, you know. And for a lot of other people, you would seek to have a little bit more customization in something like the Gate Gargants, I would suppose. And I would guess that a lot of people would perhaps be a little bit disappointed that they are as kind of by the numbers as they are. There's just an empty sprue once you're done. So I do feel like that does kind of is a criticism of the kit itself, and the options that there are within. So I think we can comfortably put the entire range at around about an 8 out of 10. I do think the Cogfort being 8.5, possibly even a 9 out of 10 on the Land Raider scale is probably fair. Maybe 8 out of 10 for the rest of it. And of course, we've already looked at the other city stuff. This stuff was in much better condition than the Grenadiers, the Gallants, and Jorvan Creel, and the Malice Forge Priest, which we did in City of Ash. So this stuff was much better, much better than that stuff. But yeah, I think we're going to settle on an 8 out of 10 for all of this. But it's cool. I like it. So there we have it. I hope you enjoy your Cogforts, and I hope you've enjoyed this video looking at this Cogfort, and the painting video for it will be there very, very soon, and of course the rest of the stuff as well. I've got a long weekend ahead of me, so I best go and get on with it, I suppose. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/Warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.